Chapter 34. The Spiritual Man. As time passes, words change their meaning and often come to mean something very different from their earlier intent. In Shakespeare's day, the word honest meant sexually chaste. Now it refers to a general truthfulness and dependability. At other times, words remain somewhat the same in their general meaning, but with a dramatically different intention. Spiritual is one such word. Paul in Romans 7:14 says, quote, "For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin." End quote. The word spiritual is in the Greek original pneumatikos. It does refer to non-material reality, but even more to power. To say God's law is spiritual is to say that it is powerful beyond man's ability to imagine. It has all the power of God and his heavenly host behind it. In this sense, the spiritual man is the most powerful man. He is not a pale and weak figure on the sidelines of life, but God's mover and shaker. Paul then continues, quote, "But I am carnal, sold under sin." End quote. Carnal in the Greek is sarkikos, meaning physical and weak. Today, carnal tends to mean sexually oriented. For Paul it meant weak, this worldly, and merely physical. It is for this reason that the carnal man is, quote, sold under sin, end quote. He is dominated by his weakness and his sin. This explains why for Paul all spiritual men are, quote, more than conquerors, end quote, in Christ, Romans 8:37. We tend to see the spiritual as ghostly and ethereal, whereas Paul sees it as supernaturally powerful. Again, we, because of our implicit humanism, tend to view the carnal as very powerful, whereas Paul sees it as weak. In other words, we transfer power from the spiritual realm to the physical, and we thereby warp our perspective on things. Our sense of reality is then warped, and in our blindness we remain in bondage to sin and evil.